Welcome to another series with Steve Hackett. We've interviewed him. This is the eighth time. I've never interviewed anyone for 8 times, but it was a lot of fun. And in this one, La pièce de résistance. Why not talk about the quintessential Genesis song? A few years ago, we had the top 25 Genesis songs of all time, voted on by prog fans, not just pop fans, prog fans. And Supper's Ready came out at number one. We'll have that countdown in the description of this video. So in this one, we talked to Steve Hackett about Genesis' Supper's Ready. Foxtrot turns 50 this year. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. Now remember, on this channel, as you know, we clip interviews into different pieces. But guess what? We have another channel where we feature the entire interview. So if you want to see the entire thing, this 8th interview with Steve Hackett, there'll be a link in the description of this video where you can check it out. Hey, how does it feel going? How does it feel with later on this year, Foxtrot? It's the album with that song, Supper's Ready. And I remember the first time we talked to you, I'd said, why do you think we had done a poll?
Yeah.
And it was number one. And we asked specifically prog fans. Yeah.
That's it. It's number one with prog fans. I think, if I'm honest, I remember years ago, before I befriended many of the guys in King Crimson, I remember seeing them when they were doing a club in London called the Marquee, before they got to support the Rolling Stones in Hyde Park. And that was a big defining moment for them. So, they're playing to a few people in a club. And then they're playing to 500,000 people with the Stones, which was their big coming out ball, really. And I remember that towards the end of their second set, they tended to segue a bunch of tunes together. And this was variable. Sometimes they would go into Cliff Richard's The Young Ones, just as a joke, and then twin that with Miles' God of War. And I found it amazing that a band could do so many different types of music and do it well. That was the thing. And when I joined Genesis the second year, I said, maybe we could do something similar live, where we could link something together, do something long form, seriously long form. And 2 weeks later, Supper's Ready was written. Some of the parts were already in existence, and we put them together, and we invented linking sections and atmospheric bits, and sometimes it was trained all slamming, and other times it was kids singing. And anyway, something that took up the whole side of an album. And when we'd done it, we played it back to our record company. I thought, they're not going to like this. They're not going to buy it. They're going to say, "Yeah, well, I don't know what you were thinking of here, guys. Contracts cancelled." Instead of which, 50 years later, here we are, getting that track voted the top progressive track, over and above many of the tracks that I've loved myself, and I'd heard from many illustrious pals. And of course, Supper's Ready is also part of Seconds Out. So we're live with the band that I have. We're going to be doing the whole of Supper's Ready. And later in the year, when we stop doing Seconds Out and we start doing Foxtrot, that will still be part of Foxtrot. So it's a substantial part of the show. Seconds Out is about 90 minutes long in its entirety. It's a double album, 1970s material. So far, we've played that in its entirety throughout the UK, 31 dates, and no passes. That's been wonderful. 3 dates in London at the Palladium. So it's extraordinary, that's happening. So it's a very strange thing that at the moment, sometimes I'm going to places, and instead of doing arenas, we're sometimes doing 2 or 3 nights in a particular place, and that's what's going on in London. But I guess there comes a point at which we'll be saying, perhaps we need to make the jump to something larger. So I would just say, if you want to see this in a theatre, there may be a short window to do this. But it's wonderful, to be doing both the old classic stuff, but also to be recording new stuff as well. So I did 2 new albums last year. We did Surrender of Silence and Under a Mediterranean Sky. Both albums were completely different from each other. They both have some aspect of travelogue and soundtrack about them, but one's acoustic and the other one is deafeningly loud. It's probably the heaviest album I've done, but also with orchestral fireworks in there as well.
Hey, I've got to start by saying this. Congratulations, Prog Magazine.
Yeah, weird, isn't it? That it's yeah. I mean, I make a noise for a living.
But look at the group you're in. Look at the group. You're in a group of, man, you got to have your chops to get in that room. And first of all, they voted you number 1.
Right. Well, it's nice, isn't it? That yeah, the British are very kind of modest about this sort of thing. Sometimes you do a show and you think, hey, I got away with it again. Do you know what I mean? That feeling of, is it ever? Do you ever qualify?
We'll have more from Steve Hackett in the next 2-3 days. Keep in mind, if you want to see the entire interview, it's on our sister channel, Rock History Book. There'll be links in the description of this video. Also links to the top Genesis albums, a feature we did a few years ago, and the top 25 Genesis songs, another feature we did maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We put a lot of production into it, so check it out. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music.